Good evening, y'all. This is going to be a fraction percent to decimal flow map. I want you to take your and turn it so that way we're writing horizontally. I want you to write the squares that I have at the very top of the page. So fraction, percent, decimal, percent, fraction. When you do this, I need your squares to be big enough so that way we can work some problems out in the square. But below it, you need enough room so you can write some steps as well. We're going to start with fraction. We're going to go from a fraction to the percent. Let's work with the fraction 2/5. It says set equal to x over 100 and then solve for x. What does that look like? I'm going to take this fraction, I'm going to set it equal to x over 100. You might remember when we did this last year called proportions. So all we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply. So we know 5 times x is going to equal 5x. And then 100 times 2 equals 200. We're going to do the inverse operation, meaning the opposite. And this tells us to multiply, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to do 5x divided by 5 and 200 divided by 5 because we want to keep it balanced on both sides of the equal sign. 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1, which leaves us with 1x. And then 200 divided by 5 does equal 40. You can work it out over to the side if you like, if you don't trust me, but it will equal 40. So what we've done now is we've changed the fraction. We've set it up equal to x over 100. We got 40, but what does 40 mean?
Percent.
The numerator x is the percent out of 100. So x is equal to 40%. So this brings us to the percent box. We're 40%. It says move the decimal 2 places to the left. This is the same thing as dividing by 100. Well, I don't see a decimal, but I remember that the decimal is always there, even if I don't see it. It's at the very end of the number. So I'm going to move it to the left 2 spaces. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and that leaves me now with 40 hundredths or 4 tenths. They are equivalent. I removed the percent sign because I was changing it to a decimal. This takes us over to our decimal box. I'm going to work with 4 tenths. Now it says to move the decimal 2 places to the right in order to make it back to a percent, because this is the same thing as timesing or multiplying it by 100. Okay? So I'm going to take my decimal and I'm going to move it over 2 spaces, which I'm going to put in a filler 0 there, and that gives me 40% because I'm going to add the percent sign back. So here we are back to 40%. And it says put the percent over 100. Well, the number is 40%. So I'm going to put 40 over 100. And then to simplify or reduce or put it in lowest terms, however you want to say it, we still got to do the same thing, which is we got to find the GCF and divide both the numerator and denominator by
20.
So the GCF of 40 and 100 is 20. 40 divided by 20 equals what?
2.
2. And 100 divided by 20 equals what?
5.
2/5. That looks very familiar. That is the fraction that we started off with.
So right then we changed it from percent to fraction, right?
Yeah, so we went from a percent back to a fraction.
Awesome.
So recap, when we did a fraction, we had to change it to percent. We set up a proportion, setting it equal to x over 100, and we solved for x. We got our percent to change it to a decimal. We just moved it over 2 spaces to the right. I'm sorry, we moved it over 2 spaces to the left to change it back to a decimal. And then when we went from a decimal back to a percent, we moved it 2 spaces to the right because it's the same thing as multiplying it by 100. So we had 40%. We put it out of 100 because that's always our whole when we're talking percentages out of 100. And then we found the GCF, divided both the numerator and denominator by it, which gave us 2/5, and that was our original fraction.
Awesome.
Love you guys. See you tomorrow.
Bye.